If you're anything like me, after an average day of work, you don't have energy for much. In my case, sometimes my job leaves me so exhausted that even sitting at my computer to watch a stream or play a casual game is too tiring. Yet, despite that, I somehow managed to release my first indie game this year, and 6 months later, I'm almost done with my second. It almost seems paradoxical. How am I creating games when I don't even have the energy to relax? Well, life is never really that simple. Before I start though, I'd like to mention that I live alone, without any roommates, and I don't really have any savings to fall back on. So in case you think that it's only possible to make games if you live with your parents or depend on someone else for income, trust me when I say that's not the case. This hobby isn't without sacrifice though. That brings me to my first point. If you want to make games, take time off. Early in Lost Resolve's development, when I was severely burnt out at work, I ended up using all my remaining PTO, and then a week of unpaid time to recover mentally, and to do what I truly enjoyed, which was game development. I understand that not everyone has a bunch of PTO they can use, but if you can swing it financially, ask about taking unpaid time if your employer allows it. In some cases, I've made more progress on a game during a single week off from work than 3 months or so on the evenings and weekends. For me at least, the relief of not needing to go back to work for a few days frees up my mind to work on projects for long hours without feeling exhausted. The following year, when I was out of PTO again, and once again hopelessly burnt out at work, I made a pretty risky decision to leave my cozy credit union job and try to get by with income from DoorDash. This turned out to be a terrible financial decision, but it gave me a precious few months to work on my own schedule, and even take more time away from work altogether to work on games. During this time, I not only finished and released Lost Resolve, but I participated in the Brackeys Game Jam, where I created what would end up being the prototype for my next full-scale game. Eventually, my financial resources were completely depleted, and it became necessary to get another real job, something I had been dreading. So I spammed job applications and was eventually hired back by another credit union, albeit at a significantly lower rate than I had been making before. And though this whole endeavor left me back where I started, completely broke and arguably worse off in the long term, I wouldn't go back and do anything differently. The time I bought myself to work on game development helped me reach my first major milestone of releasing a game on Steam, and catapulted me well into the development of my next project. Okay, so say you can't take time off from work and are pretty much stuck in your job situation. That's basically where I'm at right now. Very shortly after starting back at an office job, I'm finding myself exhausted, miserable, and most nights I'm completely dreading going back to work in the morning. So does that mean it's hopeless? Believe it or not, no. The next thing to understand about game development is that progress isn't linear. There will be some stretches where it feels like you can't get anything done, maybe for weeks or even months at a time. Recognize that that's okay. You'll have good days and bad days, good weeks and bad weeks. You never know when the next bout of inspiration will strike, and you'll have a crazy weekend where you launch into hyperfocus and do a week's worth of work in 2 days. But beyond that, recognize that it's incredibly hard to see progress in the moment. It's almost always a retroactive realization. You'll feel like you've been getting nothing done for a long time, but then look back on the past month or so and realize you've crossed a dozen things off your to-do list. In fact, this past week I experienced something similar. The prior weekend had been really difficult and I felt like I couldn't get much of anything done. But toward the end, I decided to do something relatively simple and easy. I created a list of 13 cards I wanted to implement into my game, and wrote a brief description for each one. Then, that evening and throughout the next week, I chipped away at them one by one. There were quite literally some nights where I coded just 1 or 2 cards, and then had to lie down for an hour because of my chronic fatigue. But even those nights, I was still making progress. As I write this, exactly a week later, every single one of those cards has been implemented, along with its respective artwork. So, while it didn't feel like I was making much progress during the week, progress isn't linear, and effort isn't additive. Every day you decide to work on your game not only adds progress, but momentum, which multiplies your subsequent efforts. Do what you can, when you can, and you'll be surprised by how much it adds up. Lastly, believe in your idea. Numerous times throughout the creation of Lost Resolve, I encountered criticism telling me that my game wasn't any good, that I wouldn't finish it, or that if I did, nobody would buy it. Thankfully, that didn't turn out to be the case, but even if it did, I made the game I wanted to make. Is someone criticizing you for making a platformer because it's one of the hardest genres to sell? Let them. Is someone saying your idea isn't unique enough? Some of the best games ever take direct inspiration from others in their genre. Is someone telling you your code sucks? Okay, but does it work? If you're making a game that you love, it has heart, and that's reason enough to create it, whether it sells a bunch or not. And personally, I don't think I'll ever be happy with what I accomplish in this life unless I chase my passions with everything I have, even if sometimes that isn't very much. If you feel the same way, I've got good news. You already have what it takes to be a game developer. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you'd like to support me, simply wishlist Balltopia on Steam, and consider sharing it with a couple friends if you're inclined. A public demo will be coming very soon, and the game is slated for release just after Next Fest this March. I'll see you guys in the next video, and remember, if you love doing something, don't ever give up on it.